So, Bed of the Dead was released in 2016 and is what I would consider, or at least what I went into it considering, a horror comedy. Although, or albeit, I noticed that it definitely packed in a lot more horror elements than it did comedy. But with a title such as Bed of the Dead, I only found out that it also went by The Dwelling after I seen the movie when I was looking up facts about the film and stuff. But Bed of the Dead, I'm expecting at least some comedy, and there is here and there, but it definitely packs in the horror 98% of it. What we have is this celebration for this guy's birthday. There's four people that go to this sex club basically, and this guy wants to rent out the Empire bed or something like that. And the entire room is supposedly being renovated, and the room is unavailable. And he's begging and pleading with the front girl and wants this special occasion to go down with him and his best friend and two other girls who are coupled off with both these guys and have a night of drinking and debauchery, basically. And he is willing to pay 200 extra dollars on top of the 180 that the room would have cost in the first place. And they get in there, and everything is kind of tapered off with blankets and stuff like that, other than the massive bed in the middle of the room. And once they get on the bed, they realize slowly but surely that they can't get off the bed without dying excruciatingly painful and horrible deaths. This film is, it surprised me in a lot of ways, especially with the practical effects. This is a really gory film. I love how they stuck with practical effects, and I love the detail and the attention to detail they went into the deaths of these people, and the ones that left the bed anyway. And being a film like this that, you know, is just one small concept, you're gonna have to fill it up a bit and stretch it out to be an hour and a half. And they do that with a side story involving a police officer. I think his name is Vicus or something like that, or something like that. I forget I forget a lot of the characters' names, but this police officer has this history with shooting an innocent minor, basically, and a bad history with the death of his daughter. And one thing this film does a lot is play along with people's past and people's guilts, especially, and specifically this bed that these kids get on, does this, and creates visions and hallucinations, and basically messes with the kids' heads. And there's different dimensions going on this at the same time, connecting with this police officer who is investigating the scene afterwards. And he goes into this room in the sex club, and the bed is completely burnt to the ground, and he even starts to discover the bodies of these kids in there. So he's in the future basically, while these kids are a few hours behind. So there's connections between worlds. They're able to call each other on cell phones. However, how they're able to do that, the logic in this movie is non-existent. So you're talking about a haunted bed here, so it's to be expected. But really, really great scenes. Like, I mean, there's a death where this guy literally is hanging like on the top of the bars around the bed, because this is a massive, beyond king size bed, and his stomach just starts to be split open, and there's a slow motion rain of blood on the girl. It's absolutely disgusting. The acting is hokey, and it's supposed to be. And there, another thing about this movie, people's realizations of things are very quick and very mundane. Like, they realize pretty quickly the fact that they're on a bed and they can't get off because it's haunted, and they're kind of nonchalant about it. Where in any situation, and they probably didn't do this because the movie would end in 5 minutes. Any other situation, they'd just be like, "Fuck this!" Like, as soon as they saw one death, they'd be running out of the room, and then they would all suffer horrific deaths, and that would be the end of your movie. But yeah, one person leaves, and they see them basically like their body snap apart or something like that, and then they're like, "Yeah, we can't leave the bed." Like, they just, you know, automatically discover that the bed is evil, and like supernatural things are happening, even though they don't have much evidence yet as to supernatural things happening, other than this guy randomly dying. Yeah, that's weird, but to just jump to conclusions, the correct conclusions so suddenly is funny. I like the scene where one of the girls whips a vodka bottle out the window and it goes out the window and then it starts to go in reverse and the glass starts to put itself back together and the bottle puts itself back together and lands right back on the desk or side table where it was. And they're like, "Did I just see that? What the fuck was that?" Like really over the top acting, which goes with the film, like goes with the aesthetic of it, like it goes with the theme of it, and it goes with the style, and it fits the mood is what I'm trying to say basically. And I do like the police detective story as well, and in connection with different times and different dimensions. I like how they played with that. They do a lot of things with that, and they do a lot with like I said, ghosts of people's past, that whether it's, you know, one of the girl's moms or the one of the minor that the police shot, and people that just come up into these people's lives to show the guilt that they have been dealing with. Another scene I really like involving a hallucination is when one random guy in the sex club comes into the room because one of the girls throws a key beneath the little crack on the door so somebody can come in and help them. And this guy who was being a prick at the beginning of the movie, this random guy in the sex club, comes in and the girls are trying to yell at him for help, and you originally think that he can't see the girls or hear the girls because he's walking up to them, but he's not really like looking them in the eye, and it's as if the room is empty. But then you realize that he is seeing them, but he's seeing them in a totally different light. Like they're screaming and like, "Hey, hello!" And what he's seeing is them being all seductive and sexy and like making out with each other and pouring vodka all over themselves and like, "Come here, baby, you want to have some fun with us?" And he's smiling. He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And meanwhile, they're actually like yelling and screaming, and they're watching this guy smile as if he's like liking what he's seeing, which he is in his head, in his hallucination. And it's just a whole what the fuck moment. And then again, he has gorgeous fucking death. Gorgeous. I sound pretty sick there. But yeah, it's like I said, when it comes to the deaths and when it comes to the violence and gore, this film is up there. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. The story is certainly convoluted, but it's not a movie you're really there for an in-depth story. And the acting is hokey, but it's supposed to be. The only gripe I really had with the film is just the main gripe, I should say, is just no, like the writing and what was coming out of these people's mouths and decision making. Even with the police officer, like even the police officer, it's like you're watching something supernatural that none of it is of this world, but everybody is acting as if it's almost normalized, like, "Oh shit, here's what we gotta deal with," and not like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is going on?" And like there's no confusion to the people, if you know what I mean. Like there's no surprises, there's no like, nobody loses their minds or loses their heads. They're just like, "Oh, we gotta deal with this," like they're, you know, like, "Oh, I guess we're stuck in a room now, we gotta find our way out of it," instead of like, "What the fuck is going on?" Which in reality that's what people would be doing, is freaking out way more. But this was a surprise to me. This is definitely a hidden gem. I recommend this horror movie if you like horror in general. Give it a shot. It's not as like cheesy. It's not as like like it's not. It takes itself way more seriously than you would expect it to take it, for sure. It's more, it's grounded. It's a grounded film for a supernatural, ridiculous plot, and the backstory on the bed too. They also introduce into the film as well. So I liked how they did that. So Bed of the Dead, or the Depraved. That's what it was, right? I think. The second title is a recommendation from me, and if you find it somewhere for a good price, buy it, or it's on Tubi. So check it out on Tubi first, obviously, since it's available there, and check it out for yourself and let me know what you think. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you'd like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more when I can, so stay tuned, and until next time, take care and cheers.